Who's that outside? If you're from the coven, leave me alone. If you've come to free me, then welcome. The door is frozen shut. If you want to be of help, fetch a kettle from the market and fill it with snow. Melt the snow in the fire pit in the market, and then bring the hot water back to pour over the ice on my door.
You get a cooking pot and quickly fill it with snow. The snow melts and boils quickly. You pour the boiling water over the ice, it melts away.
You're not from around here, are you? You have my gratitude for getting rid of the ice, but I'm still plenty mad at what's been done. If you'll go and teach a handful of those ravens a lesson, any of them will do, I'll be willing to listen. So, what are you waiting for? Get out there and thrash some of the ravens that ruined this nice village. I'll help you now that the ravens have paid for the trouble they brought to Hrundel Fjord. What can I do for you? A feather? An odd request, but if it's for a good cause...
Wincing, Skogul pulls out a stray feather and hands it to you.
Use that in a spell against me, and you'll wish you hadn't.
This feather will serve its purpose, but it's only a start. We do not send you on idle errands. The things we need are for a mighty spell to change the fate of a world.
The next impossible thing we need is a claw from a bear with no name. In this world, that is no small thing.
Vanir Stormroarer keeps a census of all who dwell here. He knows everyone and may know if there is one with no name. Vanir is in his hall, and he will help you find this nameless bear. When you have that bear's claw, you can return.
You seek a bear without a name. How odd. Why would any bear not want to have a name, to echo in glory? I keep a census of all those who live in this village. Read it and see if it helps.
You examine the census. The list of names doesn't include Leaf, who is standing outside of town.
Greetings. Is it safe to go back into town? What? No name? How could they take Leaf off their census? I'll have to speak to Vanir about that. What's that? You'd like a claw? How odd. I was just sharpening my claws and the tip of one of them broke off. It must be fate at work. In that case, you should have it.
Of a bear with no name. You are clever to win such a prize. Clever indeed. A feather from a white raven and a claw from a bear with no name. 2 of the 3 items we need are in hand.
The third item is perhaps the most difficult to obtain. A tooth from a wolf who has never known battle.
Fate smiles upon you. At the edge of this village is an herbalist called Regan Wildleaf. He may be of help.
You aren't from here. Did you come with the Coven, or are you here as a friend to the folk of Hrundelfjord? We can use allies in this grave time. I am an herbalist, and I do what I can to heal the sick. A tooth? What a strange request. And an odd coincidence. One I cannot ignore. When the ice first came, I bit a piece of it and broke a tooth. I'll readily give it to you, but can you help me? I have an ache from the missing tooth, and the herbs I need for the remedy are outside of town. I'll need a sprig each of valerian and of amaranth. They grow around the village and outside the front gates. I'll also need a branch of moonwort, which the coven nightwings may have taken. Gather those 3 herbs, bring them to me, and I'll look around and see if I can find that broken tooth. You're quite the gatherer. Those herbs will help ease the pain of this broken tooth. And here, this is for you.
Regan hands you a jagged piece of broken tooth. That must have hurt coming out.
Now is the time to weave our greatest magic. Tooth, claw, and feather. These are symbols of our people, yet each comes from a source that cannot be.
You must bind them with the thread of your life and weave them into the tapestry that is Grizzleheim's fate.
Take feather, claw, and tooth to the loom of fate. Tie them to your thread, you will know it, and return to us.
One of the threads looks a little different than the others. You get a sense that it represents you. You tie the feather, claw, and tooth to the thread. Strangely, Grizzleheim feels a little more like home to you.
You can now dispel the magic that binds Grandmother Raven within her cage. It should open to your touch.
Now I can take on my true form. Do not be afraid. Walk up the ramp so that I can see you, eye to eye. It has been centuries since I wore this shape. Oh, to stretch these wings once more. There is still much to do, else the Everwinter takes us all in its cold, clawed grasp. When the Ice Titan fought with his brothers, the Titans of Fire and Storm, the world was threatened with ruin. Bartleby sung the song that put them to sleep, and bound together the shattered world and spun it into the spiral. 4 sons there are of the Ice Titan, 4 giants of frost. Austri, Vestri, Sudri, and Nordri are their names. Each frost giant rules a land near Rundle Fjord, and they have never been friendly to bear, wolf, or raven. But the one they liked least was their father, the Ice Titan himself. While the father slumbers, the sons run wild. The 4 ice giants each have a means to bind their father to sleep. 4 golden seals, 1 to each. I lay this task upon you, to fetch back the golden seals. The gate to Austri's land will now open to you. Go through the gate and speak to Austri. Bargain for the seal, then return with it. There is no other way.
I've pulled bigger things than you out of my nose. Who are you, and why should I bother listening? It's clear to me why you've come. You want the golden seal that will keep my father in his great sleep. The Coven gave one seal to each of the Ice Titan's sons for safekeeping, but they do not know us very well. It pleases my brothers and me to let Ymir sleep on while we rule over Bear, Raven, and Wolf. You're clearly a wizard of some renown, but I will not grant the seal to just any who ask. You must earn it. 4 tests I place before you. You must demonstrate your superiority in strategy, wits, charm, and strength. If you would have my golden seal, you must defeat the most cunning of my allies, Skagus Forkbeak. He dwells in a small shack next to my hall. You may have passed it on your way here. Defeat him and return here.
I saw you sniffing around Austri's hall. What brings you here? If you want to impress me, you'll have to defeat me in a game of Thane's Table. It's a complex game, like chess. I can see you haven't heard of it, but don't worry, I'm starved for a good game. No one here is any good at it. I have defeated all of Grizzleheim at Thane's Table, all but Mimir Winterbane, and we played to a draw. If you want to learn how to play, and play well, you should go and beg him to teach you the rules of the game. Mimir dwells at the Well of Erd in Rundlefjord, guarded by the 3 Njorns. Tell him I sent you.
You don't see anyone nearby. That rope looks suspicious. Does Mimir actually live in the well? There is only one way to find out.
Who trespasses in my well? I'll send you to the coldest corner of the afterlife.
have my apologies for the misunderstanding. I was not expecting guests. You have certainly strayed from the beaten path, Outlander. What brings you here? Skegus sent you to learn to play Thane's table at my hand? That's wise. If he taught you himself, then he might not get the most of the game, and he might try to cheat. Very well. I'll teach you how to play, but I'm so very hungry and so very cold. I'm in no mood to teach. Yet. Fetch me a loaf of Regan Wildleaf's harvest bread, and I'll teach you to beat Skegus Forkbeak at his game.
I delivered the last of the bread to the bakery before the cold claimed the village. There should be some in the basket, though you'll need to heat it up in the bakery's oven. My harvest bread is meant to be served with fresh honey, but the nearest beehives are in Austriland.
You find a loaf of Regan's harvest bread. It is cold, but looks tasty. A few minutes in the oven and the harvest bread is hot and ready to eat. Now for the honey. You carefully gather some honey without angering the hive. Maybe the bees were expecting a bear.
That smells delicious. Honey, too? You are indeed a generous guest. I won't make you watch me eat it. After all, you're here to learn how to play Thane's table. Let me start.
Mimir teaches you not only the basics of Thane's table, but some advanced rules and some strategy. When he is finished teaching you the game, you think you can teach Skegus a thing or two.
And that's all I can teach you. You are a good student. I think you will surprise Skegus when you play.
Mimir got you sorted out? Good. Ready to play some Thane's Table? Excellent. Lay your pieces out on the board and let's get started. What's that? You don't have any pieces? Is this some kind of jest? Most Thane's Table players supply their own pieces. I no longer have a spare set. The Frostbones took mine. If you want to recover my spare set, you're more than welcome to go and get it from the Frostbones that took it.
He drops a beautiful set of playing pieces. They're made of carved bone, perhaps a relative.
And now that you're ready, let's begin. To the Thane's Table.
Skegis is a master at the game. Every move is deliberate, calculating, and without hesitation. You lose your sense of time while playing. It is difficult to keep track of the rules and advice Mimir gave you. Skegis pauses and leans back. The game is over and the winner all but decided. You think you've lost, But then why is Skeggs frowning? You look again and realize you won.
Mimir taught you well. You can tell Austri that you bested me in strategy.
That took a while. I was sure you fled. How did you do? So, you beat Skeggs in a game of Thane's Table, which shows you are a master of strategy. This next challenge will be no easy matter. You must defeat my riddle master at a game of wits. His name is Grond, and he dwells in a village not far from here. Go and challenge him to the riddle game.
Grond is Riddle Master of Austriland, famousest in all Grizzleheim. What is your name?
You tell Grond your name.
You pretty good at riddle game. You win. Grond did not even know answer to that one.
Let me guess. You beat Grond? Maybe he'll win one someday. With the challenges of strategy and wits under your belt, you're still only halfway to earning a golden seal. The challenge of charm can't be won as easily. You will have to convince a warrior to part with his weapon. The wolves have been causing me no end of trouble, and none more so than their chief, Garm Moonstalker. His spear is a thorn in my side, so I'll be wanting it from him, but you must win it without harming him. Go and take Garm's spear from him. He won't give it up easily, so be warned. You can find him in the wolf camp.
Oh there, Outlander! You must be the one who helped my cousins in the Merkholm. So, friend, I welcome you. How can I help you? Be warned, my time is short. I have many boars to defeat. Austri's thugs are endless. You wish to take my spear? I would gladly give it up if it meant my foes were all defeated. You have my spear to use as you see fit. Do not worry, I have several others ready to use against the boars.
Garm's spear. Now with this in my hands, he is rendered powerless. My boars will make short work of him. The final test you shall face is the test of strength. I will not mince words. It is a battle you must win. There is a cave near my hall, and in it is a fearsome ice troll named Solkir. He is my mightiest champion. Go there, face Solkir in battle, and return to claim the Golden Seal. There are no further conditions.